Paladins' newest champion Imani has now been fully revealed on the patch preview show for 2.01. She's a fire and ice mage hitting the realm and the last of the Dragon Warders. She's a damage champion and, well, is perhaps going to be the most badass champion in the realm. Did I mention she can literally summon a dragon? Well, we'll come back to that later. She'll be playable on the public test server very soon, likely today or tomorrow, and hopefully I'll be playing her live on Twitch and then getting the video onto YouTube too, but won't actually be out until early January when the patch releases live. Also, be sure to let me know all of your thoughts on Imani, the new champion, coming in the comments section below. Let's jump in with a little bit of lore. Imani's lore is that she is the last of the Dragon Warders, who are an ancient civilization that tamed dragons and kept them under control, although all others have died out, leaving her as the sole Dragon Warder. Dredge, the accursed sea pirate, obtained the dragon gauntlet that could control dragons, however was cast asunder and died, being reborn by an abyssal kraken. He kept the gauntlet in his marauder's port, however she came to reclaim it and the power to call dragons. She is a protector of the realm, and the developers hinted that she would be lumped in with the Resistance or Paladins rather than the Magistrate. Looks-wise, Evil Mojo said they were going with an almost Norse look with the champion, and well, I think they've come out with something that looks relatively unique to the warders in the realm, but the character looks rather badass from the get-go, with ringlets, dreads, and those dragon gauntlets, which are pretty imposing. We also have a few recolors and skins that they're bringing out straight out of the gate. So the first one is an Imani with less hair and tattoos, and damn does this Imani look even more tough and badass, although I think I prefer the main braided hair slash dread she has going on. There's also a golden Imani with a golden dragon, which will be very shiny, I'm sure, when will come out. Also a frost or snowdrift skin, which basically has white hair and a white dragon. Moving on to the champion itself, Imani is a stance switcher, being a frost and fire mage, so it will change between the two stances, fire and ice, with the Q button or your first ability button on console to change the set of fire modes and abilities, just like Strix. So I'll be talking about both these fire and ice modes. Before I talk about the champion's main fire, she also has a unique passive ability, where you charge a mana bar in the center of your UI, and when that bar is full, you fire a fully charged damaging shot of your stance, which I'll talk about the two shots in a second, after your shot that you fire at full mana, basically acting like some bonus damage per second. There's also a talent card coming to the realm which is called Mana Rift. If you stay stationary for 2 seconds, you create this rift that is a glowing sort of little area around you, and in this zone, you will charge the mana bar while stood in it, so you don't even need to shoot at people. Normally you charge the mana bar by hitting enemies with your attacks or abilities, so say once you've won a point and there's no one to shoot at, you can actually get your mana to full with this talent card. However, if you move out of the mana rift, it will disappear, and then you have to wait 2 seconds again stationary. Let's move on to the first shot. The ice mode is a relatively fast firing projectile that does 650 damage, and it looks almost like a more direct Maeve knife without that drop. The Frostbolt attack will also apply a small slow to enemy players, and with that passive, the second shot at full mana will also deal an extra 650 damage. There is also a talent card which will affect her ice main fire, and that is Splitting Ice. This in hand will make her ice attacks bounce to nearby targets whilst in frost mode, so it does 650 to the main enemy hit, and also 400 damage to a close target, giving you potentially more damage per second in a area, without actually being a area of effect champion. The fire mode is a fireball, which is charged up, and you fire the projectile, which charged max does 1000 damage, but can do as little as just over 100 damage if you don't charge it at all. The developers did say that this has a 50% extra time compared to Charlene charging up the blast. Imani is 1.6 seconds with a slower charge up, although you have the extra mana fully charged shot that can come out to increase your damage per second. There is also a talent card for your fire mode main fire, which is Pyromania. So successful hits with pyro balls will make the third shot give an area of effect hit, basically giving you a blast. This damage also charges up to that 1000 damage, so if you have a fully charged shot, it will do 1000 damage, then it will drop off to enemies that are around your initial blast shot. However, if you only get it to 500, the center will only do 500 damage, and then the area of effect will be less, so like down to 300s for somebody relatively close. Let's move on to your abilities. So the alternate fire for Frost mode is Frost Bomb. This lobs out a large ice projectile, and whilst it is in the air, you can move, but are locked out of all other actions and abilities. You can detonate it when you like, or it will explode if it collides with anything. It will do 800 damage to enemies caught in the center of the blast, and will also, the big one, cripple enemies that are hit by it. And the developer said it has around a 20-second cooldown alongside the other alternate fire. The fire version is Inferno Cannon, which is a beam of fire summoned from your hands, and it does 110 damage per tick with lots of fast damage ticks that will also pierce enemies. However, you will become stuck wherever you are once you use it, so if you jump or are falling, it will stop you mid-air, and it could actually save you a lot if you almost have your movement ability back on cooldown, and you get knocked off the edge of a map, say, to give you time to get back on. Or even say if an Ash knocks you back and you're about to go off the edge of the map, you could use this Inferno Cannon to stop yourself. Just an interesting little point out there. The devs did state that the damage per second was less than Charlene's planted. However, it's worth pointing out that with lots of little amounts of damage, it's a lot less punishing for someone that doesn't instantly get over a target or misses some of their shots. And also, the beam doesn't have the projectile time to take into consideration, making the planted much harder to aim and hit compared to the Inferno Cannon. Both of these alt fires will also charge up your mana bar, so can proc a second shot with your main fire, and both have around 20-second cooldown, the developers have said, which then means that once you switch between the stances, you kind of have like a 10-second cooldown on both of them if you're always switching, although that's never going to be the case. Imani's escape ability is super unique, and that is the Frostfire Glide. She summons an ice board with her ice powers and propels it like a rocket with her fire powers. This movement ability is also unique in the fact that whilst travelling, if you turn, you'll lose your momentum, and it's almost like a real surf or snowboard, so once you're turning to the side, you're sort of almost braking a little bit, and basically it will go furthest if you just travel straight forwards, and it does go up as well, so you have some control, but not as much upwards control as, say, the Eevee has with her saw. The developers also showed off that you can go from your glide into the Inferno Cannon and rain down a deadly beam upon your enemies from the air, and has a little bit of advanced play there. Finally, the ultimate. Imani, again, literally summons a dragon that can destroy enemies with frostfire damage, which also slows as well as doing that sort of burning damage to enemy players. It works almost like a summonable helicopter striking card whilst you are remote controlling from Imani. So the Imani is stuck in place and you're remote controlling this dragon. The dragon has this over the shoulder view, which is crazy cool, with almost zoomed in look to keep the visual clean. Like if you were zoomed all the way out, it'd probably look a bit cluttered. And you pilot by looking up and moving down, and also go up and down vertically with your ability buttons. So Q and F on PC are bumpers on controller default. Also on the PC, spacebar and right click will work with up and down. The dragon itself has 7,500 health, has a huge hitbox, and is relatively slow, and cannot be buffed or healed by allies. The fire breath damage does 190 a tick, though seems like it can chew through champions if they don't get away from it, but also the range isn't huge. Anyway, that's pretty much summing up Imani. However, let me just give some of my thoughts. Again, be sure to let us share yours in the comment section below. For me, this is definitely one of the best looking champions to hit the realm, both in the unique design, but also in the animations of the spells and the way the dragon looks. 10 out of 10 here, Evil Mojo. Onto the gameplay and balance. First of all, the two big things that stick out are the ultimate and the Inferno Cannon. The ultimate dragon does have a huge 7,500 health points and seems to do a sizable amount of damage. However, it does have the drawbacks that it's huge, so it's a big damage sponge. Its range doesn't appear to be huge either, and the damage per second isn't crazy unless an enemy is like sort of standing still, stuck in it. Although, even though the range isn't far, if you are like right in people's faces, then you're going to be able to cover a large area with the Fire Blast. Also, the big point is that you can use your escape abilities and leave the area just to get away from the dragon if you really want to. However, this also has its own problems in the fact that it's kind of like a bigger zoning ultimate. So a King Bomb or a Sky Time Bomb will make enemy players run away. It won't necessarily catch them in the blast, but will clear the point, for example, to stop people from capping and stuff like that. So with this Imani ultimate, it's almost like that, but you can actually reactively follow where the enemy players go with the death and destruction. The other big downside though of the Imani dragon is that if enemies find you as the Imani, you're going to be relatively vulnerable, and killing her is going to be one way to easily counter the dragon and just to get rid of it straight off the bat. On the beam attack, Infernoplast, this one will be something to keep an eye on. It just seems to be a better version of Planted. Yes, lower DPS, damage per second, but much easier to confirm the damage, and with a point clearing effect of it piercing enemies, so we'll also have almost this big ultimate effect of you have to get off the point if this ability is going off, or to kill the Imani, but the Imani might be shielded or something, or you might not be able to see them straight away to react to it. So this could be something rather strong in the game. Also worth mentioning is the Ice Bomb with the high damage and also a cripple makes it pretty damn strong. It's like a weaker crowd control but higher damage and much more controlled version of the Bomb King Grumpy Bomb. On both are in-hand fires, the main attacks, they don't look crazy strong on paper, although it seemed quite easy to charge the fire double shot with non-fully charged fire shots. So maybe a bit like Dredger's Scuttle, where there's a lot of damage from nowhere almost, just charging up quickly the mana bar, then a big massive double 1000 hits, so being able to do 2000 damage almost instantaneously. Though again, you will actually need to hit that shot. Plus, both her talent cards can add that extra damage per second and burstiness to the Imani to match a lot of the other champions. They say that the charge is 50% slower than the Charlins, but then they have the extra damage from those talent cards, if you want to pick them up, and also from the fact that you get the double shot with the mana. I think that her glide looks like good mobility for damage with getting up to some high ground, which not too many champions actually have the damage champions, like Bomb King does, Drogoz does, but again, it is basically a weaker Eevee but also generally cooler looking. In conclusion, I think Imani is going to be relatively strong out of the gate, maybe not overpowered or broken this time, compared to Dredge say, but that will rely on their abilities and ultimate. All in all, I'm very excited to get my own gameplay of her. I'll definitely be getting footage on stream, on Twitch, and bringing it to YouTube as soon as the public test server goes live. Be sure to let me know all of your thoughts on the new champion Imani in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe for more of my content, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks absolutely everybody for watching. Joshino.